Welcome to This Week Health Events, where we amplify great thinking with interviews from the floor. My name is Bill Russell, Healthcare CIO coach and creator of This Week in Health IT, a set of podcasts and videos dedicated to developing the next generation of health leaders. We want to thank our founding channel sponsors who make this content possible, Health Lyrics and VMware. If you want to be a part of our mission to develop health leaders, go to thisweekhealth.com/sponsor for more information. If you want to support the fastest growing podcast in the health IT space, here are a few ways you can do that. You can share it with a peer, sign up for Insights and Staff Meeting, which are services designed to help you in your career on the website. You can interact with our social media content on Twitter and LinkedIn. Post or repost our content is always helpful, and I appreciate that. But the most important thing you can do for me is send me feedback. Bill at thisweekinhealthit.com. Your insights continue to shape the channel, and I really appreciate all the feedback that you guys have given me to date. So this is the final of our interview series from the Chime Fall Forum. This is with Dr. Ashish Atreja from Mount Sinai in New York. Mount Sinai has a strong innovation program, and I grabbed Ashish following his presentation where they highlighted a platform that several health systems are using around innovation. Systems including Rush and Mount Sinai have adopted it to deliver their digital front door. Have a listen, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so here we are from the Chime Fall Forum, and I'm joined with Ashish Atreja, who is a physician by trade, and but also an innovator. So you're at Mount Sinai. Why don't you remind us of your role, or what you're doing?
Happy to, and I call this role as my third and the fourth career journey. My first career phase was as a physician, and then my second was as an informaticist, where I did EMR implementation at Cleveland Clinic Health System. My third was mostly innovation, and this is great because as a physician, we never trained how to be creators. So we use digital health to create. And the fourth, which I'm so proud of right now, is more transformation role. How do we take things which have been innovated and transform the entire health systems with that? So that's my current role in that Mount Sinai perspective.
Yeah, so you and Shafiq just presented, and it's always entertaining to have Shafiq there. But he's a huge fan of the platform, and you were talking about the digital front door. And so talk to us a little bit about that platform and what you've been able to do at Mount Sinai.
Absolutely. So it came as there's a lot of features we built initially at Mount Sinai that got licensed out. The platform is supported by a neutral third-party vendor called as RX Health, which is spin-off from Sinai. And I think the goal is to create a glue between different health systems. It started off with a simple vision that can doctors prescribe apps very much like they can prescribe medication? Right, kind of simplify the process because we were seeing so much fragmentation in digital health space. And the goal was we'll never be able to take that stuff inside a health system if we can't unify it. And that was 3 years ago, featured in NPR. And now it has around 8 health systems partners. With the goal is, can each health system co-transform with other health system by going beyond just apps analytics, by stitching together different digital assets.
So you have a platform that sits above all the clinical data stores. Mm-hmm. And uses the right technology, different technology, but the right technology for the right use case.
That is correct.
And moves the data back and forth. But what you're able to do then is, regardless of what the EHR is, I'm able to create an app that works at Rush, and then an app that works at that app will then work at Mount. I don't have to redo the app every time I go to a new
Exactly. We call it a shared use case where you can plug and transplant the same technology, but the same implementation science to achieve repeatable, replicable results, and within 90 days.
Wow. So where is it in use, and what problems are people solving?
Yeah. So we have around more than 200, 300 pathways created for patients so far. I think the most common cause which we have seen is, I would say there are 5 or 10 top cases. So one is we have an entire perioperative, peri-surgical, peri-transitions of care toolkits, we call it. So no matter what surgeries, what procedure, what transition of care is, it can support them because there's a lot of hidden revenue leak that's happening there. But some of the things hospitals I shared with Shafiq's talk is very interesting. Like, hey, can you prescribe patient portal app? And can you prescribe to all the patients that need it? And can you do it in a much more scalable manner than ever was possible before? And that is fascinating to learn from each other.
Yeah. So Shafiq shared some stuff. So what's Rush doing with it today?
Yeah. So Rush actually just started process. So I think part of it is we start this core transformation kind of umbrella, and then we start on this journey. So one of the things which Rush has done just exemplary is they have actually a very good integration point, Firebase integration point with Epic EMR. So they can activate faster any digital asset, faster and earlier than any other health system in the country. So one of our stuff is the things we have validated, can they activate that much more earlier? And there are 3 or 4 use cases we are discussing, but we haven't finalized the use case right now.
Wow. So what are you finding out there as you go into the market? I mean, as you talk to clients, as you talk to potential clients for the solution, I assume are you representing this solution at this point?
Kind of. I mean, it's
until you find a CEO, you're the
yeah. So we are looking for, as the growth happens, expanding the team, and So I think the goal is you want to put your DNA of creating a bigger value, and at least create that success strategy from an innovation investment that has happened, and then there are bigger and better people who can just take it from there.
So talk about the implementation. So I'm a CIO. I'm sitting here going, hey, I'd like to jumpstart our innovation that we're doing at our health system, and I procured the solution, put it in place. Is there can I acquire the stuff that maybe Mount Sinai is doing, the stuff that's Rush doing as well? So those individual applications are available to...
That's correct. We call them as digital assets. So some digital assets come pre-baked with the platform, and some you can license it, and those are all orchestrations we are doing on the platform itself. So there's a health education platform, wearables, telemedicine, so many of those digital assets are already there, and you can choose, it's kind of a menu, you can choose, hey, my first thing is to actually do peri-procedural care, or I want to really engage every patient with electronic health education, or I want to turn on remote patient monitoring in that space. So based on your problems and your strategic priority areas, we said these are the best fit use cases which are already validated in other health system, and you can just turn on. Or maybe this one is currently being developed and not validated, but actually completely fits your need. So you may be the early adopter, or you may be the third adopter, or you may be the 10th adopter in that regard.
So what's the, I think it's obvious, but what's the value proposition for developers? And do you have a developer community starting to form around this?
We have started in an API base. I think its journey is very recent. So I wouldn't say the developer community is very mature, but it's a complete API driven platform. So when we go to a health system, we actually say, if you have development team, we can open those APIs for you. And so we become kind of a distribution and kind of engagement, and stitch that digital asset with other digital assets to make it whole. So for example, if you're creating a mini app, but that requires telemedicine as a backup, we can stitch that with the telemedicine in the backup.
So you've mentioned telemedicine. I mean, so if I was developing for this, are there components I can pull in and...
That is correct.
Just blocks. So I could drop telemedicine in, and
that's correct.
And some sort of routing and communication. I can shoot off texts. So really, it's an orchestration orchestration platform on top of a lot of disparate.
That's correct. So it's a whole, we call it RX Stitch Engine, where you can stitch things together, and then we bake with the implementation science that creates a recipe. So think of the stitching together as the raw food or the raw vegetable, and then the implementation science as what cooks it and bakes it, so you can actually make it palatable.
So do you have an API that you publish that's out there?
Yeah, we publish some of the API. We haven't published completely, but I think that's a journey we want to take more and more.
That's great. So what would you tell CIOs, health systems that are out there? You had a pretty big crowd, actually.
This is great. I think great engagement. The credit goes to Shafiq. And I think, and Shafiq said the word which I would actually resonate. The most exciting phase for a CIO is actually now. Yeah. But what makes it exciting is not that what we learned can be done. What we have not learned can be done is what makes it most exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting, and I think it was pretty rousing for the group that was in there. Ashish, thank you very much.
Well, always a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I really want to thank Ashish and everyone who sat down with me at the Chimefall Forum. It was a great time for me. I learned a ton. I hope you learned a ton from those conversations. I think it's interesting to ask them all the same 8 questions and see how they're looking and what their lens of the world is going to be going into 2020 and how they're going to address the challenges that they have. And hopefully you learn something from it and something that you can apply at your health system. For those who are going to the Spring Chime Forum around the HIMSS event, I'll be doing something very similar. I'll announce that sometime after the first of the year. But if you'd like to sit down with me, just let me know. Drop me a line, drop me an email, ping me on Twitter or LinkedIn, let's get you on the show. With this episode, we now go back to our normal schedule of Friday interviews with influencers and Tuesday News Day, where we look at the news which is impacting health IT. This show is a production of This Week in Health IT. For more great content, you check out the website, thisweekhealth.com, or the YouTube channel as well. Special thanks to our sponsors, VMware and HealthLyrics, for choosing to invest in developing the next generation of health leaders. Thanks for listening. That's all for now.